Why does your home smell like bleach or fabric softener, but never like you? Most people think a fragrant home means more candles, more sprays, more shopping. But in Japan, fragrance is not something you add, it's something you cultivate. Today I want to show you 7 quiet habits. They don't cost much, they don't demand energy you don't have, but they can transform the way your home smells and feels. Not artificial, not overpowering, but soft, living, and full of memory. Let me tell you about Sachiko. She's 73. She lives in a wooden house in Kyoto. No air fresheners, no diffusers. But when you walk in, the whole home smells like citrus peel and cedarwood. The curtains smell like sunlight. The entry smells like warm rice. She told me, "I don't buy scents. I build them with time, with tea, with care." And I believe we all can, even in a tiny apartment, even on a tired day, even alone. So let's begin gently, because the first Japanese habit is not about what you add, it's about what you let in. 1. The morning air dance. When was the last time your home truly breathed? Not just opened a window, but exhaled the heaviness of yesterday and welcomed today like a guest? Most of us keep our homes sealed shut, out of habit, or because the air feels too cold, or because we're too tired to care. But in many Japanese homes, the first act of the morning is not reaching for coffee, it's opening every window, even if just for 5 minutes. Even in winter. This practice is called kaze wo tusu, letting the wind pass through. It's more than ventilation. It's a reset. Here's something you can do right now. Tomorrow morning, before the day piles on top of you, open 2 windows on opposite sides of your home. Let the cross breeze move. Shake out a blanket. Sweep the entryway. Lightly tap the pillow. Let the air not just move, but dance. You'll be surprised what 5 minutes can change. I remember visiting Keiko-san, a 76-year-old woman in Nara. Her home had no central air, no fancy diffusers, but it smelled like fresh tatami and wild herbs. I asked how. She smiled and said, "I open the windows before I open my heart." She had lost her husband 3 years ago. Since then, she told me, mornings were the hardest. But this habit, this small act of letting air move, was how she reminded herself she was still alive, still part of the world, still in motion. There's a quiet fear many of us carry, that if we stop, if we sit too long, the walls will grow heavy with stillness, that our homes might hold our grief longer than our joy. And yet, movement, even just air, interrupts that weight. For me, opening the windows each morning isn't about dust or smell. It's about creating a moment that belongs to no one but me. A moment when I feel the weather on my face, when the curtain lifts like breath, when the silence isn't heavy, it's kind. As Keiko said, "Let the wind remind you you're still here." And that's where we begin. But air is just the beginning, because the second habit is all about letting your home scent itself, without perfume, without pressure. Let's talk about how the Japanese bring nature inside and let the house speak softly all day long. 2. Fragrance from the earth. What if your home could smell fresh without a single drop of artificial perfume? Most of us are so used to masking smells with sprays that we forget how powerful natural scent can be. Not just pleasant, but grounding. Real. In many Japanese homes, the air carries the quiet fragrance of earth. Tatami, dry herbs, worn wood, warm rice. Nothing loud, just lived in peace. Here's a small shift with big impact. Simmer peels and herbs instead of spraying chemicals. Drop mandarin or yuzu peels into a pot with water. Add a piece of cinnamon or a few shiso leaves if you have them, and let it simmer gently. That scent? It's comfort, it's clarity, and it lingers without coating your lungs or overwhelming the space. If you don't cook often, you can dry citrus peels and place them in small bowls with cloves, or tuck them into linen drawers. Let me tell you about Etsuko, a 79-year-old in Kyoto. Her house smelled like roasted barley and orange peel. I asked if she used any special oils. She chuckled. "No, dear, I just don't throw things away too fast." She showed me how she dried leftover ginger skins and steeped them in a small kettle on winter mornings. "The smell reminds me I'm cared for," she said. That sentence stayed with me. Not "I'm productive," not "I'm useful," just "I'm cared for." Many older women carry a hidden ache, not for things, but for sensory connection. When children move out and partners pass on, the home can feel blank, like a photo with no frame. These scents, however subtle, are small rituals that say, "This home is still alive." So am I. Personally, I've stopped buying scented sprays. They always felt like I was covering something up, but boiling dried herbs or scattering tea leaves into drawers, these acts feel more honest, more tender, like I'm working with my home, not against it. Etsuko told me once, "The air in your house should smell like the life you're living, not the one you're trying to sell." And I think she's right. So instead of masking, let's nourish the air itself. Speaking of nourishment, the next habit might surprise you. It involves something you'd usually pour down the drain, but in Japanese homes, it's a quiet treasure. Let's talk about rice water. 3. Rice water wipe. Have you ever poured something down the sink, only to realize later it was a quiet treasure? In many Japanese homes, rice water, the cloudy liquid left after rinsing rice, is not waste. It's wisdom, a gentle, scent-free cleanser that leaves wood soft, tiles smooth, and even the air a little fresher. Here's how it works. After rinsing your rice for cooking, don't throw that milky water away. Pour it into a small bowl, dip in a soft cloth, and use it to wipe down wooden tables, shelves, or even the kitchen counter. The starch in the water acts as a natural polish. No harsh smell, no residue, just a light, clean feeling. The kind of clean that doesn't scream, it whispers. I learned this from Michiko-san, an 84-year-old woman in Nara. Her home had that gentle shine that felt more cared for than cleaned. One morning I watched her rinse rice and set the bowl aside. "You'll see," she said. "It's like feeding the wood." She moved slowly, wiping her table with the warm rice water. "This table is older than my daughter," she smiled. "But it still listens when I touch it." That line, "it still listens," stopped me, because that's not about cleaning. That's about connection. As we age, there's a quiet fear that what we do doesn't matter anymore, that the effort we put into our space fades faster than we do. But habits like this, small, rhythmic, grounding, remind us that we're still in relationship with our home. We give, and it responds. Personally, I've started saving my rice water too. There's something deeply peaceful about wiping down the day's surfaces with something that would have been discarded. It feels like an act of care, for the home and for myself. Not flashy, not loud, but lasting. Michiko once said, "Don't waste what once held nourishment. It still has something to give." And I believe that's true of more than rice water. Sometimes, what we overlook holds quiet power, just like what we choose to dry in the sun. Because the next Japanese habit, it's not about a cleaner. It's about the oldest source of freshness we have, light. Let's step outside. 4. Drying under the sky. When was the last time your laundry smelled like the wind, not detergent? In Japan, many families still dry their clothes outside, not just to save energy, but to let nature finish the cycle of clean. It's a habit rooted in something deeper than utility. It's trust in the sun. The scent of freshly sun-dried sheets isn't just clean. It's emotionally clean. It smells like warmth, like safety, like childhood. Here's a gentle method you can begin right away. After washing your clothes or bedding, shake them gently to release wrinkles, and then hang them outdoors, on a balcony, a backyard line, or even a window hook if space is tight. Let the morning sun do the rest. The ultraviolet rays naturally disinfect. The breeze fluffs the fibers. And what you get isn't just dry laundry. It's comfort you can smell. I remember visiting a woman named Keiko-san in a small town near Kyoto. She was 76, with silver hair always tied up and eyes that never missed a thing. She had a habit of hanging her grandson's shirts just as the sun rose. "The morning sun is still kind," she told me. "Not too harsh, not too lazy, just right." One morning, I watched her lean over her wooden railing, clipping shirts in silence. She didn't hum, she didn't rush, but the air around her felt devoted. For older women, especially those who live alone, there's often a quiet ache they don't name out loud. The feeling that time is slipping by without leaving a scent. That everything is useful, but nothing is sacred. But in this ritual of drying under the sky, there's something holy. You let go of the wet, the heavy, the hidden, and receive something lighter in return. A little sun, a little wind, a little proof that the world still gives back when you offer it something to hold. For me, this habit softened laundry from a chore into a form of healing. It reminded me that care doesn't always come from effort. Sometimes it comes from allowing. As Keiko once whispered, "When you let the sky touch your clothes, it touches you too." Let's carry that warmth into the next habit, one that starts not in the laundry room, but in a pot simmering quietly on the stove. 5. The Genkan ritual. Have you ever walked into a house and felt instantly at ease without knowing why? Not because of the decor, not because of the lighting, but because the very air felt clear, welcoming, like the space was cared for, not just cleaned. In Japan, that feeling often begins with the genkan. It's the small entryway where shoes come off. But more than that, it's where energy is paused, where the outside is gently asked to wait. And surprisingly, it holds one of the quietest secrets to keeping your home always smelling good. The trick is simple: clean low. Clean where scent lives. While most of us focus on surfaces at eye level, scent often collects down by the floor, where shoes rest, dust gathers, and damp mats forget to dry. That's why the Japanese habit of washing the genkan regularly, not just sweeping, but truly tending to it, is so powerful. Once or twice a week, take 5 minutes to gently clean your genkan. Wipe down the tile or wood with warm water and a splash of vinegar or lemon juice. Air out the space. Wash or shake out the welcome mat. And then, here's the heart of it. Place something that brings you stillness. Maybe it's a small bowl of dried citrus peel. Maybe it's a few coffee beans in a dish, or a tiny cloth bag of green tea leaves tucked quietly near the door. It doesn't have to be visible, but it has to be intentional. That's what shifts a space from neutral to nurturing. I remember visiting Emiko, a 76-year-old woman who lives alone in Kyoto. Her home was small, quiet, filled with soft light. But the moment I stepped through her genkan, I felt it, something like peace. She smiled and said, "I always clean the genkan before my daughter visits, even if she's not coming." I asked her why, and she paused before answering. "Because it tells the house I still expect good things." That sentence stayed with me. She wasn't cleaning for a guest. She was cleaning for hope. For many older women, there's a quiet ache that's hard to name. The fear that no one will come, that the house will grow still, that they'll disappear into the corners of their own space. And yet, a clean genkan is a kind of reply. It says, "I'm still here. I still believe someone might arrive, that a knock might come, that life might surprise me. And in the meantime, I will keep the space ready." It's not about being busy, it's about being open. Personally, I've started wiping my own entryway once a week, not because it's dirty, but because I want to feel what Emiko feels, that I'm not just managing a house, I'm preparing it to receive. And something shifts in me when I do it. I move a little slower. I breathe more gently. I don't feel behind. I feel rooted. So if you're looking for a habit that's both practical and poetic, start at your door, not with a broom, but with intention, with your hands in warm water, with the quiet message, "This home is ready for joy, for memory, for me." As Emiko once told me, "Even if no one comes, I want the air at my door to feel like a welcome." Now let's step deeper inside and discover a ritual that stirs not the floor, but the very heart of the home. One pot, one scent, a whole new feeling. 6. The aroma simmer. When was the last time your home smelled like someone was gently waiting for you? Not from a spray, not from a plug-in, but from something slow, warm, alive. In Japan, there's an old habit that's almost forgotten in the rush of modern life: simmering. Not just to cook, but to scent, to calm, to remind the house, I'm here, I care, and I have time. The method is simple and deeply soothing. Fill a small pot with water. Add slices of citrus peel, a piece of ginger, maybe a stick of cinnamon, or a few tea leaves. Then simmer it on low heat. No boiling, no rush, just quiet steam rising through your space. The scent drifts room to room like a gentle memory. It softens sharp edges. It wraps around the moment. If you're afraid of forgetting it on the stove, use a small electric warmer or a rice cooker on keep warm mode. You can even simmer water with a drop of essential oil, yuzu, hinoki, or green tea, all gentle, all grounding. I once visited Noriko, 81, in her small home just outside Nagoya. She lived alone, no television, no smartphone, just books, plants, and quiet. I asked her how she keeps her house feeling so fresh. She smiled, lifted the lid of a tiny pot by the window, and said, "This is what I do when I feel lonely." Inside, dried mandarin peel and roasted barley. The scent was earthy, familiar, tender. She explained, "It reminds me of when my children were small. I'd simmer this before they came home from school. They'd walk in, drop their bags, and say, 'Mama, it smells good.' They don't say that now, but I still do it. For myself." There's a quiet fear that many older women carry, but rarely speak aloud, that the house no longer waits for anyone, that the silence is permanent. That scent, once the language of memory, is now a language they only speak alone. But simmering is a kind of reply. It says, "I'm still here, I still remember, and I still know how to make warmth float. I used to light candles, then I used diffusers. But nothing softened the room the way a pot of steam did. It became my small Sunday ritual, a way to mark time, to say to myself, this moment matters. This breath, right now, is worth making fragrant. So if you feel the days blur together, if the house feels a little too quiet, if you long for a kind of invisible company, try simmering. Not to impress, but to embrace, to fill the space with memory, with care, with the scent of being home. As Noriko said, I simmer so the air doesn't forget me. And now, as we near the final habit, we'll return to the one place in the home most people forget to care for, but where scent, silence, and self-respect quietly meet. 7. The quiet scent corner. Where does your home breathe from? That one corner you pass by every day but never really see. That spot that doesn't serve a purpose, just exists. Still, silent. But what if that forgotten corner could become a source of peace? A small place that reminds you to pause, breathe, and remember who you are. In many Japanese homes, there's often a tokonoma, a simple alcove where a scroll, a flower, or a small incense burner is placed. It's not decorative, it's intentional, a space that holds beauty without noise. And scent plays a gentle role there. A quiet whiff of sandalwood, a thread of green tea smoke, a whisper of hinoki tucked into a drawer. Nothing strong, nothing obvious, but enough to greet you when you least expect it. You can create your own scent corner. You don't need tradition, just a little tray, a stone, a folded cloth, a few drops of essential oil on a wooden bead, a ceramic dish with dried herbs. Choose one smell that calms your breath. Place it where your eye can rest, even for a second. This isn't for guests, it's for you, a tiny ritual of stillness. Every time you pass it, you're reminded there's peace inside you still. I think of Mrs. Yamada, 84, who lost her husband 5 winters ago. She rarely left the house after that. But in spring, she cleared a corner by the window. Just a chair, a cushion, and a small tray with incense her husband used to light. He would light it before reading the newspaper, she told me. Now I light it at dusk, just one stick. That's enough. The scent doesn't fill the house, but it finds me. Her eyes watered, but she smiled. It's not about remembering him. It's about remembering myself. There's a quiet grief many older women carry, not loud sorrow, but the fading of spaces that once held meaning. A chair no one sits in, a corner once warmed by company. That fear that our surroundings no longer reflect our inner life is real, but scent, quietly placed, can become a way back, a way to bless the emptiness with grace. I used to think fragrance was for the bathroom or living room, but now my scent corner is next to my bookshelf. A tiny cedar tray, dried lavender, one smooth stone. No one notices it, but I do, and that's what matters. It's a way of saying, I'm worth tending to, even when no one's watching. As Mrs. Yamada said, that little scent, it tells me I'm not done yet. And with that, we come full circle. Because scent, like memory, like care, doesn't shout. It lingers, quietly. So let's take one last breath together in the final thoughts of this journey. We didn't just talk about making your home smell good. We talked about stillness, about rhythm, about breathing memory into the walls. We talked about scent not as decoration, but as comfort, as presence, as a way to hold hands with the past without clinging to it. So tonight or tomorrow morning, try just one habit. Open the window before the day begins. Let the morning air dance through your curtains. Simmer a cinnamon stick on the back burner while you fold laundry. Tuck a tea leaf or a sprig of rosemary into your drawer where the scarves sleep. Let scent become something more than fresh. Let it become familiar. Let it become yours. And now I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, what scent reminds you of home? Of your mother's kitchen? Of the first home you cleaned on your own? Or maybe of a moment you thought you forgot? I read every word. I carry your stories with me, quietly, like folded letters I never throw away. If this gave you even one soft breath, pass it on. Send it to a sister, a friend, a neighbor who still thinks peace must be earned. Remind her and yourself that we're not just keeping homes fresh. We're keeping life gentle, one breath at a time.